The Grange Road speed limits. Our village board concurs with you that we would like to reduce the speed limit on the Grange Road south of 47th. We had a discussion, in fact, at our last board meeting and approved a recommendation and a petition, I guess, if you will, to the Illinois Department of Transportation to reduce the speed limit not to 25 but to 30. And the reason for that is because we had our traffic consultant, KLOA, perform some speed studies for us in connection with our study of 47th Street and the Grange Road South Corridor. They felt that it was appropriate to recommend a reduction in the speed limit. We don't believe that IDOT would favorably receive a recommendation to reduce the speed limit by 10 miles an hour to 25, but felt that KLOA did feel that we certainly had a supportable petition to reduce the speed limit to 30 so that we were kind of at a graduated reduction of the speed limit from as you come north on the Grange Road. It's currently 35 and then moves to 25 at 47th Street going north, and we'd like to reduce that to 30. And that letter and that petition has already been sent to IDOT, and we are awaiting receipt, hopefully, of their approval of that initiative. With respect to the crosswalk that you discussed and desire to have a crosswalk across the Grange Road, we have also discussed the desire to have some sort of improved crosswalk. What we've talked about is at the Grange Road and 52nd. Is that correct? 52nd? Yes, there is an existing crossing there now, but we recommended, or we have discussed, I should say, part of our planning process has been an improvement at that same crosswalk, the Grange and 52nd, that would be similar to the improvements made at 47th and 9th. What we are waiting for in terms of making that improvement, and also a similar one at 47th and Wyola, is really some experience data with respect to the 9th Avenue crossing. And frankly, we've gotten some mixed feedback. And your feedback tonight, if you'd like to provide it tonight or at any time in the future, encourage your neighbors to call. Let us know whether you're finding that the improvements that were made at 9th Avenue on 47th Street have helped. Are you finding that drivers are noticing you, are stopping when you push the button and activate the yellow signals? I'm seeing a head shake no, and we've heard that in some significant part, that there is a fair amount of information coming to us that is at best mixed, but a lot of people saying that drivers are not stopping. Now, some portion of that is education, is the recognition that there are improvements to the crosswalk, getting used to it, all of a sudden saying, oh, there's a yellow light, there didn't used to be one, and there may be some improvement in those that travel consistently up and down the corridor as they become accustomed to it. But we're not certain. So we, as that improvement was about an $80,000 expense, we, rather than simply putting in the same type of improvements at the Grange Road and 52nd or at Wyola and 47th, we are kind of waiting to hear from our neighbors and friends. And we might hear something right now.
I'm just wondering if there's a reason why it cannot be a red flashing light.
Again, Mr. Gillingham can more articulately speak to that. The simple answer is that the Illinois Department of Transportation won't allow it at this point in time. We've asked, we've petitioned for that, and they have advised us that that is not in keeping with the Motor Vehicle Code, and the Illinois Department of Transportation, unfortunately, owns the road. So we haven't given up on that effort. Ryan is bird dogging that, and we continue to attempt to move in a direction that might improve the improvements that were put there, and that is one of the potential options. Sir?
I would tend to concur with not having a flashing red light there. I live less than 100 feet east of the crosswalk, and I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that people are not obeying it. I would say a good 7 to 8 out of 10 cars do not obey it. flashing lights or not. The newest, recent signs, no matter how hard the village has tried, the ones with the stop sign on them have caused utter confusion in the last week. A lot of people are driving up to that spot and when you hear squealing brakes, they think it's a stop sign. I don't know why, but they do. Exactly.
Yeah,
they're not reading the whole
They don't
sign.
read this.
All they see is maybe they're distracted. I don't know. They see that stop sign is, and I've seen some serious near misses.
Well, that's very helpful input. I appreciate that. That sign change is a result, as you may know, of the change in state law, which just occurred, which now requires drivers to stop for pedestrians in the crosswalk rather than
But, however, I will say this: as hard as the village has tried to improve that, and as much work has been done over there, there's still, to this day, an extreme lack of enforcement. I don't see police enforcing it. I don't see people getting pulled over and ticketed. In Chicago, in the city of Chicago and other suburbs, they actually do stings where they set a police officer out there. I don't know what our budget is for that, but I do know this. I see plenty of traffic enforcement or parking enforcement in this village. But a parked car isn't going to kill one of my kids walking across the street. My kids are in high school now. I still won't let them cross over there. I make them walk down the Grange Road, then cross. Because it's just that much safer. When you're in the middle there, people are still, they make that run from East Avenue or from the Grange Road. And without enforcement, it's never going to be safe, ever. And it's been, what, a year now? And it hasn't gotten any better.
Well, two things. I know you saw the chief shaking his head. Yes, he, and I think we probably collectively in this room echo the recommendation to have your children cross at an intersection with a traffic light. It is the safer intersection because of the nature of the improvement. We do our very best to enforce. Unfortunately, we don't have the size staff, the number of police cars and police to perform stings and be on 47th Street and next to Spring Avenue and Drury and Ogden and Cossett and on the Grange Road and in all of the places in our community where we want our police to be. So they, under the chief's tutelage and guidance, have a set of plans in place as to how best to roam and police the entire village and enforce our various traffic and safety measures in all of those places. And I know we all have this experience. You know, when you see somebody going through the red light, you don't see a police officer there. What our police chief always reminds us is, if there was a car there, you wouldn't see. You would see them stop. There's clearly enforcement when there's an officer sitting right there because that's when people stop. And unfortunately, we don't have the luxury of having a police officer or a car at every intersection and every crossing at every time of day.
I understand that fully. Don't get me wrong. I think our police department, especially with emergency services, is absolutely second to none. Nobody can beat us. But I lived there. I've lived there my whole life. It's on a daily basis, daily, and it's just, for whatever improvements were made there, personally, from what I've observed over the last X amount of time it's been, complete waste of time and money.
Well, I appreciate your comments. It's really helpful to get your feedback.